Hi, this is Jason Rona, and this is one of my favorite RC products of all time. The Tamiya Midnight Pumpkin, released in 1987, was a 12-scale monster truck. And a lot of these products were made back then by Tamiya, they were actually modeled after the real monster trucks that were out at that time. This particular truck was, I believe, modeled after the Frankenstein monster truck, which was all yellow. The Frankenstein was a yellow full-scale monster truck, but I believe at this time, Tamiya was looking at all these different types of vehicles, and they decided that that one of these early 50 models Ford trucks would be a great looking, entry-level RC car, and they were right. It was a great little truck. I got this when I was about 12 years old, and it was a great little truck to start with. It was, I think what attracted me to it was the body, was the hard plastic hard body that's obviously so popular today with the scale trucks. Guys really like them, but even back then I think that was what attracted me to this vehicle, was the hard plastic body and all the bolt-on accessories. It was nice that it had the roll bar, the grill, it had a rear tailgate, and in those days it was actually a licensed Ford body. Today they've kind of rebranded it as a Tamiya because I'm sure they didn't want to get involved with the licensing over a period of 20 or 30 years, but that's what this is. It's an early models Ford body, and that was the attraction. Ironically, they also made another vehicle called Vanessas Lunchbox, which just had a van body on it. And that was also modeled after a real monster truck called Rolling Thunder. And what was nice about the two trucks is they had totally different looks with the body, but the chassis was completely the same. Just as a lot of the other manufacturers do today, they just do body changes and keep the chassis the same. Tamiya was really the one that kind of started that trend way back in the 80s. And what was really nice about this little truck is, again, incredibly simple. We talked about that with the JRXT, one of the other favorite products we had. But this one was easy to build when I was about 12 years old. Had it going. You put the battery in it, had a mechanical speed control, little Magnum Sport radio. A little Futaba Magnum Sport was kind of what we used back then for this. And the truck was just great. It performed all different terrains: grass, gravel, dirt. This truck went anywhere with the little rubber tires, and this truck performed like a miniature monster truck. Although it was two-wheel drive, it still gave you that feeling like you were driving a kind of a car crusher. If I had to compare this to one of today's vehicles, I'd say like the Traxxas Stampede. They've rebodied the Stampede over the years many times. Most recently with the Bigfoot truck. They put a 79 Ford body on it in the Traxxas Stampede. Rides again with a different body, and it's a very entry-level truck that a lot of drivers get into RC with. And that's what this vehicle did for me. It allowed me to get into building a simple chassis layout. The shocks were just friction spring shocks, but it made you feel like you had the suspension. And what was really neat about this truck is it has a wheelie bar on the back, and when you're driving this truck, it does real wheelies very easily. I remember driving this out of my front door, and everywhere on the driveway, on the asphalt, it just wheelies everywhere, and it's a whole lot of fun to drive. And when you put this thing in the dirt, it actually works well in the dirt as well. It's not really heavy. The tires are pretty grippy, and it provides a lot of traction, even being two-wheel drive. The Midnight Pumpkin goes all over the place. As a lot of their vehicles did back then, just had the 540 style Mabuchi motor, and you just run that thing forever. Seemed like it was maintenance free almost. And I just remember never replacing anything on my truck, and it just ran forever. The only thing that was difficult was about the build was just putting on the decals, trying to cut and assemble these decals on the body. Thank goodness we had Fast Freddy here at the shop. He put these on here for our video, but I believe that was the only thing that I struggled with when I was 12 years old, was putting on these decals and making sure they all looked nice, and they had 1,000 wrinkles in them. But it still was a great truck. And back then it came with an all white body that you actually had to paint to a black color to resemble the kit box. But today they actually mold it black for you, so all you got to do is put the stickers on it, and you got the legit Midnight Pumpkin just like the box. One of the other things I think was really great about the Tamiya vehicles of that era and today was the kit box. I think the kit box drew people really in with this kind of cartoony drawing that the kit box has. It looks like the truck, but it's got sort of a nice cartoon artistic flair to it, and I think that really drew people in. Just looking at it on the wall or anywhere in a hobby shop, I think that they really felt like it was a real special type of vehicle. You'd open those Tamiya boxes, everything was laid out very nicely inside. Sometimes they would separate all the components and screws and body, and it looked like you were really getting a quality product and packaged really well with a lot of care. And I think that goes a long way with the customer. Back then it did with me, and owned so many different Tamiya cars, but this was definitely my first Tamiya that I fell in love with, which was the little Midnight Pumpkin. And if you don't have one of these, I recommend having a fun vehicle. This guy really gets the fun factor done for you. Like I said, does wheelies everywhere, and it's a real fun basher truck. Similar, if I had to compare something today, like we said, the Traxxas Stampede, but this is a little bit smaller, and just really kind of reminds me of the good old days in RC and just getting going. Anyway, we appreciate you staying tuned here to the channel, and some of the products that we've really enjoyed throughout the years, specifically with my racing and development over the years, and the Tamiya Midnight Pumpkin, definitely one of my all-time favorite RC products.